Hello and welcome to SFFRomCast. I am sat in a bit of a dingy room, but I am Jessica and I am here to talk to you about some fantasy romance with my lovely friend
Emma. Hello. So we've been reading lots of sci-fi and fantasy romance, and we're here to talk to you all about it. And this week we're doing
Fated Mates.
Fated Mates.
Fated Mates.
I do another one
love
of
it.
your yummy ones.
It is. Well, I was going to say there's at least 3 that are kind of top of my list for things in this 6.
I've already been thinking of like other if we were to do it this way for another season, I've been thinking about the tropes that we haven't done that we could do, because I think we could probably find another 6 for a series. Easy. I reckon it'll be interesting to see, because they're not the ones that jump to our mind necessarily first, so they would probably be quite interesting picks.
I was gonna say that will be quite a lot more fun then, because you've actually got to sit and delve into it and go, actually, where it will be exactly like this, that every book I picked up I can go, actually it would fit in that one and a little bit in that one and actually a little bit in that one.
I might do a diagram. You know how I love going in Canva and I did like the book bingo for like season 1.
Yes, you do.
But I might do one where to see where they overlap,
where they all meet in the middle,
where it falls into episode 1, episode 2, episode, see, because definitely it's the same for me. There's some books that could be in like 3 minimum of these tropes.
Really is. We should get started. I was going to say, we're going to say,
we are really chatty today. We are going to have to be controlled.
You need to put that thing in from SpongeBob where it goes like 8 hours later, and we're still just going.
I'll find it.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
If I can get it on TikTok, probably, because it will have the licensing. Yeah.
It's all good. All right, let's get started before it's dark.
Join us.
Now, what I found with the ones that I've gone through is that there were some differences to it. There wasn't just the bam, insta love, you and me, and then build from there. There were kind of I've got my first one is quite a subtle little, it's in there, and there's those, I know there's something between us.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is yet. So I've kind of got a mix of those of bam, yes, it's you.
That's fair as well. Like the first one I picked and my first mention are like the same. It's like it is, but it's a little bit more subtle. It's a little bit more drawn, and that's surprising because they're both novellas actually. Two of those that I've picked, and then there's the final one, which is much more the normal.
You've got an epic.
Yeah.
Go hard or go home.
Yeah. So what's your first one?
Okay, my first one is it is my year of the Gargoyle this year. So it is Deceived by the Gargoyle by Lillian Lark.
Yeah.
So I've delved back into the monster territory because you have to at least once a month. I've found now. But this also made me stop and think, when did monster become the big thing that it is? Because in theory, is a werewolf not a monster?
Well, it is in quite an interesting distinction. I think it's just that we've changed the monsters a little bit. We've
broadened our horizons.
We're happy for them to be even more monstery. Before, it was kind of like with werewolves and vampires and stuff. They're still like
humanish.
Yeah, that's it. It's like it's just an element of danger or of
just that walk on the wild side, I suppose.
Like baser instincts, but monster is like
all tentacle.
I think it's like a combination of that and then everybody that was obsessed with Beauty and the Beast as a child coming together and being like, we like
in a happy little place,
this new development.
This is it. So my thing was, I was probably a bit older for Gargoyles, the Disney series, but mine was Biker Mice from Mars. I remember watching that, these buff mice with metal plates and stuff, and being like, hey, hello.
It is not surprising that these things have happened
As they have.
to the generation. If you tracked it through media, I mean, when you think about the amount of people that would go, Robin Hood,
Yes.
Was he
Robin
your
Hood.
first childhood
Yes.
crush before you even knew you had a crush? Was he a animated fox? Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
It's just weird, all right?
Yeah.
So it's not really surprising that we've ended up in these places, is it?
We're not going to question it. We're just going to go
No.
with it. And that's fine. But yes, back to the book.
Yeah, fated mates, not monster romance.
Yeah.
We've done a monster romance episode if you want to hear us talk more about that.
Yeah. And there'll probably be more. Just come and find me.
Yeah.
So this one also is a poly relationship, and it's kind of, so it's two that get together and he is already in a relationship. So it again, it might be triggery and a bit warning for people. There is it's not cheating, because he's open to meet other people, but he just doesn't explain to his other people that he's meeting them. So it's a little bit, he's a bit schemy. Backstory, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes. So
yeah.
So the series it's got a love house. It's like a love bath house where they kind of people go to be matched. And so she goes to be matched. She is a witch. Her name is Grace, and she's a plus size character in this one, and she's had a lot of history with her family just being unpleasant to her. They're kind of on the wealthier, snobbish, witchy side of things, and she just wants to go, and she wants to find her own family. She wants to go and get away from this burden, and she wants to know that she can be loved and make this life for herself. And she meets this gargoyle who is a bit schemy and lovely, and he kind of offers her everything that she could want, because she's kind of made a list, and he's been and snuck in and seen the list that she created. So she's kind of, I like this, I want this, I want this, but I don't really want to be part of a group or anything. And he's coming as part of a triad. So it goes from there and expands outwards. But this is kind of one that there are all the little hints, so they match you on specifics. So he's gone in and lied about some of his specifics, but the specifics are there. He's got some, and the other two in his triad also have the others. So he's like, we're a perfect fit. We're just a little bit bigger than you think we are.
There's three rather than one.
We're kind of the best of all the worlds. So it's so he is Elliot, and there's Alistair and Broderick, and each of the three gargoyles, the men of all the gargoyles, they've all got a little snippet of something. So one is quite moody and gruff. I think that's Alistair, and one is just like the cocky artistic playboy. He's Broderick, and he's fantastic. And Alistair is just this big cuddly cinnamon roll. And you could imagine if you shoved the three together, they would make the perfect partner. And it's lovely.
It is.
But
that
really
was an
subtle.
interesting pick when I saw that one, actually, for your fated mates one, because it's almost like, I mean, obviously it's fated mates. It's just that she has more than one mate, and it's kind of like found family as well. It's that way of like slotting. That's her place. That's where she's meant to be, isn't it? Which is really nice. Yeah,
it's quite nice that they're all found. So gargoyles have clans. I'm going to go into all of it now. And so all of the three kind of found their way into this small gargoyle clan because of, they didn't have the right family dynamic. One, I think, lost their parents. One was kind of thrown out because it's the culture. If you don't fit into the clan, you hit 18 and that's it, off you pop out the nest. And so they're all kind of found family. So it is the perfect fit for that. And had all of the scheming and the lies not been there, it would have just slotted straight into place.
Yeah, Elliot could have gone in our last week's episode, couldn't he?
He
was a bit morally grey. I liked him.
Yes, he really. He was so lovely. And then you're kind of like, you're grabbing your head like, no, don't do it, don't do it. And he just does. There's also loads of other things going on in it, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Yeah, my one's like quite different to that one. It's Fated Blades by Ilona Andrews. I think that's how you say it.
That's how we're going with it.
Who is most famous for a Kate Daniels series, I think, and I've never read anything by them. They're a husband and wife duo, I think,
a duo.
That write together. Yeah. So this one is like a sci-fi one, and it's a novella, and it introduces these, I can't remember what the race is called, but they live on this planet, and there's this warrior race that have kind of settled there after they were used during these big wars and stuff, and there are like these main families, and the two most powerful families hate each other. There's bad blood, of course. It's really cool why they're this warrior race. They have kind of this bionic like weaponry, so they're human form, but they can create these like laser blades and laser shields and stuff. It's mega cool. Sci-fi, and they go into the details so much. It's like, oh yeah, I like this. And that is kind of at the heart of what happens in the conflict. So there is Ramona is the head of one of the families, and Matthias is the head of the other one. They've moved into these positions, and it's all business orientated now and stuff.
Woman politics.
That's it. I know. And like, she turns up at his office, and she's like, right, where's your wife? Do you know where your wife is? They're both married already. In fact, I was like that to begin with. I was like, what? I don't do this, but hang on. They were arranged marriages, like for business reasons and stuff like that. And neither of them are in happy situations with them. And he's checked, and she's disappeared. His wife's gone. So he's like, what's going on? Oh, that's because she's run off with my husband. And we need to go find them because they've stolen all of our research. So what they've been doing is they've been researching the genetics of how they get to have this like symbiotic armor and stuff, because obviously if they're able to distill that, then they'll be able to sell it. So it's been a race between like all of the families who can get to the, you know, the best research and then sell it, and politics, more stuff, and business and everything. But so it's in their interest. They're basically like, we have to team up before anybody finds out, because as soon as they find out, our positions are going to be weakened. And they go off together to track them down, and so there's like lots of adventure and things like that. And for me, what you see with the two of them, basically, because you know they're like proper enemies. They don't normally, they'd be like, right, we're gonna, you know, they can't be in a room together kind of thing.
In the face.
Yeah. But basically, as they're going through finding their other halves and how they're going to deal with this problem and getting stranded in places and stuff like that, it's just like they are completely falling for the other one's like competency. It's like
competency porn. So many jokes.
Totally competency porn. I am a sucker for competency porn. I have found I very much enjoy that. But as it continues, they also find out more, and this is where the fated mates bit comes in later, is that when this warrior race before were used in the war, they used to always have a partner. And when they learn to fight together, they feel this synchronization kicking in, and it turns out they're meant to be together. So even though their families would hate it, it's like they have to be, because that is the other half to them. It's really cool. And I'm going to be reading more of them.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. This is just all in a novella. That's just how do you
that's it. I was like, oh my god, this is so good. I mean, I guess it keeps the pace really going when it's in a novella as well.
Yeah, really.
But I was expecting, because it was that, and in a novella you'd have, like you said, with the fated mates, like boom, straight in there, you know, oh, I know this person's for me, but not at all. They managed to like still kind of slow burn it in. Excellent. Yeah.
I remember the first time I read, if you're a romancy writer, you will know the book Romancing the Beat by Gwen Hayes.
Oh yeah.
When she said it's like a helix kind of effect, that they just kind of twine around each other, and that kind of that's what my brain's like. They're just slowly like a helix linking around. So good. But that does lead me into one of my picks, my first pick, where it's kind of boom, insta. So this is it's part of a series, because I love a good series, the Boundary series, and this is Kian by Callie Rhodes, and we're in a bit of an Omega verse here.
Okay.
I forgot to mention, we've got knots in all through mine. Love a good knotting.
All of them are knotted.
I don't know. Oh, I'm not sure about number 3, but
okay.
at least my first 2 knots galore. Yeah, where was I? So this is the Omega verse. So in this world we have alphas and betas, and most of the people are beta, and the alphas are few and far between because everybody believes them to be just pure feral. They get bigger as of puberty, when they kind of the change takes over. They get big, they get nasty, they get angry, and basically because of this they are shipped off to this place called the Boundary Lands. They become like mountain men, just far out of the way. And
there's everything going on in this one, isn't there?
Really is. Again, and it's quite a short one. These books are quite short. So when they hit their puberty, they are all sort of shipped off at 16 and kept out of the way. But then the only way you can trigger an Omega is to be near an alpha. This is it. So as soon as alphas come into physical contact with an Omega, that's when their turn comes in. So they move the alphas out the way so nobody can be turned, because if you do, they are basically believed to be locked in a room, bound and bred, and that's basically it. That's your life now. Sorry. But some people would love that sort of thing, but most people would not. So
time to go and watch a film or read a book or something, please.
Anything. No, sorry. Well, you're chained to a bed, so I suppose you could just put a telly on the wall.
I think that just shows that my desires to do things other are all quite lazy.
No, I'd be good with that.
Climbing, couldn't I?
No, what's your telly? Oh, I can't rock climb anymore. Now I've been tied to the bed.
It's fine. It's not the worst.
But so as it would happen, all of these women, there's quite a lot of books in this series, end up finding their way into the Boundary Lands for one reason or another. And our lady here is Paige, I believe. Paige. So she's just found out that her boyfriend is kind of a massive drug dealer who likes to kill people for a living. So she goes to the police to try and sort of dob him in, and unfortunately the police are all in his pocket. So they were like, we're going to try and get all these other people out of the room and have a word with you. But luckily somebody there sneaks her a note and tells her to get herself out to the Boundary Lands because somebody will help her there. So she does. She heads out there. She ends up at a bar, which is basically just full of alphas. So she kind of walks in, and as with any werewolves, their sense of smell is epic. And she walks in kind of just smelling of fear, and there's something. And she meets this dude, this Kian, and as soon as he touches her, that's it. The bar then sort of just goes whoomp, and that's it. He's got to get her out into the car and run, otherwise it would just be carnage. So it's a bit different in the fact that it's the alphas are drawn to the omegas, but it's not like a fated mate person to person. It is kind of more it seems to be more the molecular thing, physical, the touch is there that awakens it, and it doesn't seem that it has to be that specific alpha, but obviously the alpha and the omega that get together are perfect.
That's interesting to have that as like a different thing, because normally it feels like fated mates is kind of like the fantasy or sci-fi version of just soulmates in romance. That's kind of the main bit of the concept, but like obviously for in like an omega verse it's more general. It's just about
it is
biology.
That position and
kind of thing. Interesting. So my first mention is Frozen by Meljean Brook, who I believe is the
Miller Vane.
The Miller Vane. That's it. And this was the
Miller Vane.
The Miller Vane. And this one I could have put in one of my gateways, because this was one of my first sort of adult reads. It was like, it's a very adult one. Not that it's like, it's not massively a lot, but it's kind of but it was for me at the time.
I was going to say,
quite normal now.
On a steaming cup of hot beverage, where would it have sat?
Oh, probably now it would only sit at like 2, probably. But
really?
at the time, and probably when I get into what the story's actually about and how it works, it will explain it a little bit more. So it's called Frozen. Did I already say that?
Yes, you did.
Yes, it's Frozen. So you've got Olivia and Eric, and they work for the same engineering company, I think it is, or construction company, something like that. And he's disappeared off for the Christmas period, and she needs to drop by. His dad, who also runs the company, it's like his family's business, has sent her there to get him to sign some paperwork. And he's in this cabin in, I don't know, somewhere in America that's very cold at Christmas time. I'm not sure, I can't remember.
Look at Hallmark, there'll be a Hallmark channel.
Very snowy. And she's like, she's a bit gutted that she has to go because there was this thing back. They've shared a kiss like once, but then he immediately, and it was like the most amazing kiss she's ever had.
Of course.
But then he was like, he's completely gone cold on her. So she's gutted that she has to go and talk to him because he's always like very just cold and rude, and not even rude, just standoffish with her. But when she gets there, he's in this really strange thing, and he's like desperate for her to leave, and he can't believe his dad sent her and stuff like this. And what transpires is that he's part of this ongoing curse. He changes into like a frost giant. Like a frost giant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's this other family that are in a feud with them, and they reenact like the Ragnarok thing. That's the idea. Over and over, where he has to kill the wolves, the descendants of Fenrir and stuff. But there's this additional curse on him, and it's like it's really drawn out and you can't get to the bottom of it. But the thing is, he's like going to get a wee bit horny when he becomes an Iceman. So he's like, you have to leave because I will not be able to control myself around you. But she's stuck. They wreck her car, the wolves.
Of course they do.
Of course they do. So she's stuck in the house, and it's just like, it's this really funny tension. Eric is like the king of consent, but also the threat of, I'm really not going to let you consent to anything when I turn. Is this really weird balance between the two? And obviously,
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, and it evolves that it's like the curse has been put on him in order to distract him so that the wolves might kill him. This is what happens, is that he gets obsessed with mating with the woman he loves, or his soulmate. So, and that's what transpires. She doesn't realize, she just thinks he wants to hump anything. But it's until, it goes on and she's like, well, hang on, how did this work? How could, she asks more questions. She's a clever heroine. But so that was what was weird for me with this one, was because it's fated mates, but it's kind of like, it's the curse that makes it more fated. Like, they would have fallen in love anyway. They love each other and they want to be together, but it's the curse that makes him act so possessive. Yes. And I mean, he says through it, it's like, don't, these are my faults anyway. These are like baser urges and instincts. It's just that when I turn into the frost giant, I can't control myself. I won't be able to stop myself. And he wants her to like kill him. He's like, look, you can't let me treat you this way. I'm gonna, here's this gun, shoot me in the head if I come for you. And she's like, do I really need to do that? I'm not sure that's necessary. What you're saying is you want to take me to bed for a long time.
Yes.
You really like it.
Yeah.
But
there's consent there, and it's all good. And let's put the gun away.
It's funny on the consent, obviously. As we should always say, check trigger warnings.
Trigger warnings for all of the books.
Yeah, check them all. Make sure it's okay for you. So
I think that is with just a lot of fantasy. You might as well. It's a massive thing now, and so it should be.
Anything like
just
that.
pick up your books and have a quick movie.
You can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last one picks up on two of my things, which is A, fated mates, and B, firemen. I do have a thing for firemen.
This is new. I've not heard this.
On my hen night, we had a fire engine that we went in.
Lovely.
We had a karaoke fire engine, and my mum lives across the road from the fire station. So afterwards, while very hungover the next day, I got a fireman's lift from a very, very nice fireman, and I got all the outfit on, and it was really interesting but vile because it was so warm, and I was kind of like, oh, I'm very hot. And, it's a bit weird. Anyway, so yes, I do like a nice fireman. So this one is again another part of a series. It's the Fire's Edge series, and this is kind of the first one. The first one officially is a little novella, but this is the first one called The Boss, and it's by Abigail Owens. And so with fire, these are dragon shifters, and the fire crew that we have are like an elite crew who can sense the fires of dragons, because obviously dragons, big epic mythical fire, destroys all. So the best way to stop these dragon fires is to have the dragon enforcer team in there. So the dude is called Finn, and he is the leader of the dragon enforcement team. And he comes across his lady, who is his fated mate in this one. Why is it that it's usually one side that knows more than the other?
That's true. Yeah, there's usually one that is aware, isn't there?
Yes.
That they're like, this is how it is for us. We have mates and this is what's going to happen. So, whereas the others are like coming in and somehow they're their fated mate, but they have no clue that this is a thing.
They know everything. This is it. So with this, it works in the way that the males are the dragons and the women aren't, but they start showing signs. So they start having like blackout moments and then waking up and there's fire. You know, not like I would do to just get the fireman in the house. She's literally being set on fire. I wouldn't do that. I just phone to get the battery checked. No, that's not sensible. Just get the battery checked yearly by the fire brigade. Don't be wasting
the fire services time. Okay,
do it properly. Yes. So so she thinks she's got a stalker, an ex-boyfriend stalker. So wherever she keeps moving, these fires keep happening. It takes a while for her to realise that she wakes up and it's actually her. So she wakes up in this new place and there's a fire, and the fire enforcers know that it's a dragon-esque thing that's caused it. So he knows that it's her, but with the dragon, because the females aren't officially dragons, the male has to pass their fire to them to bring it fully out of them. But Finn has done this before and he killed his last mate because she wasn't officially his mate. So as soon as he finds this woman, her name is Delaney, as soon as he finds Delaney and realizes what's going on, he's like, no, not again. I'm not doing it. But then obviously there happens to be a stalker as well. So she's setting fires. There are other fires. And he just gets so
she wasn't
drawn
entirely
into it.
Wrong.
No, it's not entirely her, because there is another dragon shifter that's kind of sensing her fire.
I see.
He's kind of after her and is making her think that she's crazy. And so there's dragons and fire.
And that means he has to go in. And
he has to go in.
He can't turn his back when she's
not on your fated. No. Very good.
Wow. Yeah, that does sound cool. So my one I probably won't talk about too much because they've been talked about a lot.
We could go on forever.
In case you've heard of Ice Planet Barbarians.
Have you not? There's one or two books maybe?
Ruby Dixon. But my pick is not the first one. My pick is the second one. I can't remember the characters' names. That's really bad. I should have looked them up, but I didn't because I knew I wasn't going to go into too much detail. But this one's called Barbarian Alien, and by the end of the first book, what do they call it again? The little cootie.
I think it is just a cootie that they call it.
That's what the humans definitely call it anyway. This thing that they put inside the women's chests so that they're able to live on the planet. And then it resonates, doesn't it? With
it starts vibrating, doesn't it?
one of the ice planet
like a
inhabitants.
dildo in your chest.
And as soon as they do it at the end. This one guy, he immediately recognizes who his mate's gonna be, and he just grabs her and legs it
and goes. Yeah.
And it's like, I love that one because they're both really grumpy characters, and he like pretends he can't understand her for quite a lot of it because he doesn't want to deal. I think Liz. I thought it was an L. I couldn't think, and I cannot for the life of me remember.
I can't remember their names.
Maybe
Rashush or something. Yeah, she puts in all the books. She does all of the pronunciations, and I love that. But I can never remember which one's which.
But yeah, there's a lot. They're so reluctant. She's so like, no, even though she has the feelings, she really does not want to know. Kind of like your third one. But he's such a little wounded puppy as well. That's why he does the wrong thing. You know, he doesn't know how to woo her, like, you know, in a nice way. That's why he's the barbarian alien in this one. But they come together and it's so lovely. And she like, it's got some nice little tropes, like she looks after him when he gets injured and stuff like that. And it's cool. I just found it so funny. Such a lot of snarky banter in that one.
This is it with a lot of them. I think there are 22 in the first season, and obviously I've read them all, but there's so many of them. I think at one point the leader is like, stop taking the women, and they all then resonate and go, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to steal them again. And they do. And I know I shouldn't love it the same as you, but I do, because they just kind of go like, gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's like the kids with biscuits. I love it so much.
Yeah. So one of the things I thought about the fated mates as well, because I was trying to think about like what's cool about it, what works for me, because I never used to like it so much. Like when I used to read stuff and it was soulmate stuff, I'd be like, oh, it feels like a little bit of a cop out, which is like, because you don't get the build up.
No.
But I think what I recognize in it now is like we just said, they're not always like that. You're still having build up, you still get reluctance as well, you know, this, why am I in this situation? But it also, like, if you're looking for that type of thing, it kind of shortcuts you to adjusting to a relationship. And like, you get the good stuff of like the intimacy and the closeness and stuff, but because it's happened so quickly and it's just like right in there, you get to see the characters learning how to deal with it as a long-term thing, which sometimes you don't get in other romances, because particularly I like slow burn. It's much more about them learning that they want to be together and then coming together at the end, and that's the conclusion.
It's more the how can we be together, because we kind of are supposed to be.
And particularly because when it's in like a fantasy or a sci-fi setting, often there's extenuating circumstances as to why they won't be together, or like you said, how they might not even know that this was a thing, because there's lots of different races or religions or whatever it is that's like it's like these conflicts that they have to overcome once they're together. But definitely if you're looking for a very quick fix, I want to get to the good stuff. Fade Mates is perfect.
It just straight in there. I'm curious how would you do it in a contemporary setting? There's never really any way.
It's hard because it's the mates section. Like I said, it's like soulmates, isn't it? So you have to have this. I guess you can only kind of do it in contemporary in as much as
it's just the love
you
at first
describe
sight.
the love
there
and stuff. I think so. I kind of looked up soulmates in my last book, because I was my last contemporary one, which because I wanted to look at how it would work for them, like in terms of what is it people think of when they say soulmate, and whether or not people believe in soulmates or not, because it's kind of it's quite open. So that was quite interesting, and I sort of did that in my last one, so it can be done.
Well, this is it. Well, okay, I'm going to digress, but it does have a point. So me and the other half He's around somewhere. We met at work, and I relocated from the Midlands down south to Watford. And he saw a picture of me before he ever met me, because we had a cool thing at work online with your pictures and little snippets of information people could change, which was hilarious. And he kind of said, I saw you and I wanted you. Not like that.
We can see everybody's picture in your other half. Like he's blue, he's 7 foot, she never mentioned it.
I'm just going to leave it at that and just let you wonder. So he saw my picture on the internet before he ever met me, and he's like, she's quite nice. And then here we are many years later.
He had like a connection moment.
That thing.
That was like, hang on, it's like this magical moment where you could be like, that person's going to be significant to me.
Yes. And there was a moment. And then I kind of but then every time I tried to get him to go out for drinks and stuff, he'd say no. Well, there you go.
Why?
Because he was out with his mates and he was very shy.
Okay. Yeah. This is not how it is in books.
Bros before hoes, you know. Just kind of.
If you look, fated mates, are you kidding? I will try and pull this whole bar of my mates in order to get to you.
No, mine's just at the back with his beer going, she'll still be there tomorrow. We're meant to be. It's fine. She's going nowhere.
That would totally be the way it works in a contemporary setting, wouldn't it? It'd be like, but if we know we're going to end up together, I'm going to have some fun now. That's how men think.
Yeah, because I'll come back tomorrow and you're still mine.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know whether I want to read that or not. I kind of do.
I'm not sure how that will work.
If there's one out there, please let us know, because I would love that. I'd just probably end up wanting to slap him by the end of it.
Well, that sounds like the guy that they then move on from.
Yeah.
He just assumes she's going to be there no matter what. And she's like, no, I'm not having you then.
I'm going to find my own fate.
But your other half, very nice. So,
his name's Flobbert.
Flobbert.
Flobbert. Yeah. So that's it.
Even more sounds like a character of a book now. That is total fantasy, isn't it? Just take a normal name and just change
his letter.
The letters. Yeah.
Well, this is it. We call him Flobbertian, so
it becomes more and more.
So when all you listeners who close your eyes later, just imagine what happens in my house and how my kids look.
We need like a little artist to do a picture.
It's like Marvin the Martian.
Family. Yeah. Oh dear.
On that note, that's it for Faded Mates.
That is it for this episode of Faded Mates.
Yeah.
Let us know about your favourite Faded Mate and whether or not you like it or not. I think it's a bit of a divisive one. Sometimes.
It really is. So people are just like, you cannot have love at first sight, and other people are like, of course you can.
Yeah, some people really aren't keen, but I always think you'll find someone who does it in a way that you like with most things. I think. But,
yes.
So next week we're going to be talking magic. Yeah.
Cool magic.
Cool. Yeah, not just magic.
Not just magic.
Because we don't want to talk about the rubbish magic. What's the point of that?
Obviously. Stephen Mulhern just pulling things out of the hat. If you don't know who that is, sorry, he's a British magician.
David
and he's quite good.
In a box. Who
is the one above the Thames, just in that box?
David
Blaine.
David Blaine, that was it.
It's in a box.
Yeah.
British people are throwing things at me. Yeah, you're in a box.
It was not the place. It was not the place to do it.
No.
Anyway, that will be us next week. If we ever stop rambling and making each other laugh.
Yes.
It's been quite the episode for that.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, so come and chat to us on social media if you're around. We've got TikTok and Instagram and Twitter with the SFFRomCast. That's it. Nice and simple.
Yep, and you can see our lovely red smiley faces on the YouTube and the Spotify and the Anchor and all of the other good podcasty places.
Lovely. Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, indeed. See you next week.
Bye.